It's often been said that the best teacher is Dirk. No, his experience.
Not me.
The experience of Dirk. Well, this next article actually seeks to prove out that the best teacher is experience. Shortcut to Experience by executive coach and trainer Naftali, yes, Hoff?
Naftali?
Yeah. I think it's Naftali. Naftali Hoff. Again, he's an executive coach and trainer. And the article demonstrates that leaders learn to make good decisions in large measure by making bad decisions.
Sure.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
If
you screw up so many times, don't do that anymore.
Eventually, you're like, don't do that. You know?
Don't do that.
It's like when you're a kid, you touch the hot stove.
Yeah,
and you
3 or 4 times in my case.
Yeah, I was going to say, me, about 10 times. I stopped doing that when I was 6 or 17. And it was better after that. Well, life and career experience combines to allow a certain degree of pattern recognition that can be malleable. That's what experience really is talking about. Yeah. If you don't take it too far, and this isn't something that Hoff talks about in his article, but I'm going to talk about it here a little bit. Experience and rote reactions are different things, and tools like the Ono Circle, for instance, we've talked about a lot on the show, they're designed to help managers break free of the assumptions born of experience and see what's right in front of them with fresh eyes. And this is, again, Hoff didn't talk about this in his article, but this is what I thought about as I began to read his article, is this idea that experience is great, and there's ways to get experience if you don't have it, and learn from the experience, but relying too much on experience cannot necessarily be a good thing. And something like the Ono Circle is intended to have you break free of the assumptions that you create through your experience. You say, well, my pattern is telling me this is happening, and this is what's going to happen next. Maybe. Right. That might be true. Yeah. The better experience is to say, well, I've seen that in the past. What may happen next is this, but let me not assume it. Let me kind of wait a little bit and see. If I start seeing it go that way, I can maybe deal with it. So that's a little sidelight here that I thought was interesting. Well, Hoff's piece actually does offer some really compelling reasons to embrace experience. And he offers some ways to develop it in even a short period of time. This is what he's talking about, this idea that you can kind of have a shortcut to experience. There's a couple things he suggests here to help yourself do that. The first one is to keep yourself trained. And I mean, that's just a good idea for anybody. I mean, there's lots of learning out there. There's lots of amazing people that have done things that you haven't done. And if you want to if you don't have experience in something and you want to learn how to do something, you can find that information. It's pretty easy to avail yourself of that knowledge. I know this from having to replace my window screens in my house. There's all sorts of videos about how to do that with a little spleen.
Find anything on YouTube.
You know what? I didn't know how to do it. I don't know that I did it that well, but I did it.
There's screens.
The wife was happy.
That's all that counts.
That's all that counts. Next one is volunteer. I mean, the best way to learn how to do something is often to step right up and just do it. I mean, see if someone you respect needs a hand with a project and jump in and help out. I mean, you're going to learn a lot that way. Many times, there's this idea in an organization that you don't want to be the one stepping out in line and saying, yeah, I'll help with that, but if you think about it, yeah, you're going to add some work on your plate. You're going to pick stuff up. But first of all, you're going to make some allies through helping somebody else out. Sure. And you're going to learn stuff. I mean, if there's somebody there that is overburdened, a manager that is doing some interesting projects that you're not even involved with, but you want to learn how to do those things, just volunteer.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, you know what, I got an extra hour today, or I'll stay an extra hour afterwards to help you out with this, because I want to learn about it anyway.
Also shows initiative, which
is a great thing.
Yeah.
And tied in with that is find a mentor or a peer group, another suggestion that Hoff has. I mean, those that you respect, those who you respect, and have done things you want to learn are really going to offer a lot of wisdom. It kind of is aligned to that same idea that, if you find somebody that's doing something cool you want to learn about, jump on board, help out, you know? I mean, you're going to learn a lot of things from that. Follow leadership experts. I mean, it's similar again. I mean, why not find information from those who are leaders in their field? I mean, those people that, even if you don't know them, follow them on LinkedIn. See what they're doing. You read their books. I mean, you're going to learn a lot in that way. Reflect, not to get too airy-fairy about this, new agey, but, sitting there by yourself calmly and thinking, consolidate your knowledge, I mean, those are good things. I mean, to be honest, I mean, this is one that I need to think about many times, is because, I'm spinning all day long. I think you are too. We're also busy here. Yeah. And you don't ever really reflect and consolidate and think about why you're doing something and what you're learning from it. And yeah, you're learning on the DNA level, but you're not maybe learning consciously about it. So if you take, not even a lot of time, 10 minutes after a project's done, or even as a project's going on, and say, what does this really mean? What does this connect to other things? as opposed to just doing it, done, next, move on.
Right, right.
You're not going to learn as much that way.
I understand, yeah.
It's really, really good. Ask for feedback. I mean, humility is a great trait in leaders. It's a great trait in anybody. If you seek help and you ask guidance, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to question what's told to make sure you understand it, right? I mean, if you just say, well, what I'm finding is the truth, and that's it, question it, you're not going to learn as much. So question it too when you find that information out. You gave me a book, Dirk, that I thought about when I was reading this story. And I don't know if you've read this book.
I saw it. I heard it was good.
This is, I don't know if any of you out there have read it. It's only been out for about a year or less. The Leonardo da Vinci biography by Walter Isaacson, who's an old-time editor. Great book, fantastic book. Great art in the book and great writing in the book. He was the master, Leonardo da Vinci, of what was known as experiential learning. And he really wanted to have hands-on and figure out everything himself. Right, and he disdained book learning. Part of it was that he was illiterate for part of his life. He didn't really learn to read until later in his life.
Okay. Wow.
And he never learned to read Latin well. He learned the vernacular, Italian, at his time. But it was a problem for him early on with book learning, and there wasn't a lot of books anyway in 1500 or 1485. There really weren't a lot of books being printed. So. As he grew older, though, he began to appreciate the wisdom of leaning on the experiences of others. So it was like. At first he was like, well, what other people did doesn't matter. What people in the Greek era or the Roman era did, Euclid, Ovid, none of that stuff mattered. But later he realized it did matter. So at the end of his life, he understood there was a blended approach to real learning, that the experience of having done it yourself, learning from what other people did as well, was a really interesting way of blending that and coming to a conclusion about what it means.
And I'd say there's always a flip side to this too, is as well as the importance of doing that for yourself in order to gain more experience, and in all these different ways that you mentioned, it's important for the environment that you work in that your managers and upper level people recognize the importance of what you're trying to do and encourage it, so that if you say, hey, I'd like to volunteer to do something, they don't clamp down and say, well, that's not your job.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, well, you want to learn something? Well, as long as it doesn't interfere with your current, your current projects and so forth, sure. And same thing with mentoring is, mentoring takes time, and it takes longer to mentor somebody than it does just to say, do this and don't ask questions, right?
Right. Well, and the fact of the matter is, you might be stuck in an organization that doesn't value those.
Exactly.
And you may not have the choice. They may say no. We're paying you to do this for 40 hours a week, and if you have extra time you want to devote, do more of that. That's what we're paying you for. Don't go over there and get involved in that. Part of that silos too. Individual managers may not want to lose somebody to another manager who's doing something else that's related. So,
well, I'll tell you another thing. I don't know if it's as easy to do now, and if you can do it in every job. But something I did when I was young. It had nothing to do with my current job, but it was something I was interested in. I wanted to learn more about audio recording because it's always been a hobby of mine, and audio, sound reinforcement, recording, that sort of stuff. So I just went to a local recording studio. And I just said, I want to learn more about this. Do you got any? I'll do any kind of grunt jobs you want me to do around here. If you allow me to kind of sit in the studio, watch what you're doing, ask. And so they gave me these piddly jobs, splicing, cassette tapes and all sorts of stuff. But it was kind of like, sure, free labor, somebody who's interested in what we're doing. And there are possibilities for doing that within certain fields. It's probably tighter now because, especially in California, labor laws, all that kind of stuff. But it never hurts to go somewhere else outside your company that might be willing to bring you in as kind of a paid, an unpaid kind of apprentice, just to ask questions and look over their shoulder.
Or just in the service industries. I mean, there's plenty of nonprofits. If there's
nonprofits,
you want to learn about grant writing, or you want to learn about how some political structures work, whatever it may be. There's plenty of opportunities in nonprofits too to work on that.
Habitat for Humanity. I mean, there's a lot of skills you can learn out there helping knock together some homes.
That's right.
Interesting stuff.